Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, JC, and welcome back to my channel once again, and welcome back to a normal video about zombies. It's been a while, actually, guys. It's been a pretty long while, but today I wanted to talk about my 3 favorite potential maps that could possibly happen in a DLC 5. So, like, if DLC 5 is real, here are the 3 maps that I want to see, because I feel like I haven't done that in total yet. I've talked about DLC 5 a lot and what I think about it, if I think it's real or not. That doesn't really matter. In this video, let's just say it is real. Let's just say it is happening. Basically, this is my 3 maps that I want to see remastered, and I want you guys to leave in the comments below for the next things people say. What 3 maps would you guys want to see Treyarch remaster if they ever get a chance to? So yeah, am I beating a dead horse about DLC 5? Well, probably, but there's just so many more things that keep on coming out that sort of lean towards that possibility. I mean, we had another website on the face of the planet that said something about some map pack in BO3 that's coming out in June. I don't know, this is what people are talking about right now. That's just what I heard from the community on Twitter, okay? So there's more DLC 5 talk. As always, there's always going to be DLC 5 talk, so I just want to make this video. So let's go ahead and start with number 1. The number 1 map that I want to see pretty much no matter what, I think, is Shangrila. Shangrila, if you guys don't know, Shangrila is basically my baby. It's the map that I love. Just like, I have a certain affection for Shangrila, and it's for a number of reasons. Shangrila, first of all, it looks beautiful, right? Like, it looked beautiful back in 2011, and if this thing was remastered, it would look beautiful in 2017. Like, I would just love to see how different just the trees and the jungle and the lushness of the jungle would look, and just how sick the eclipse would look on Shangrila as well, because if you didn't play Shangrila back in the day, the Easter egg actually took place in an eclipse. So basically, you had to touch these 4 pedestals on the wall and make this eclipse happen to save these 2 explorers as they're trapped in a time loop. It was a really cool map. I just love the environment. I love all the hints to Argatha and all of that, and that's where the whole Argatha storyline really started in zombies. Everything in this map just came together for my liking. At the time, there was a bunch of maps that I felt like were a little bit too easy, especially on the Ascension side of things. I know a bunch of people want to see Ascension, a bunch of people love Ascension, but for me, a map like Ascension and a map like Call of Dead, they just seemed pretty easy. Like, they didn't seem like really hard maps, right? And then you have Shangrila, where there's practically no safe place to train at all in Shangrila, and it was just chaotic. It had random elements to it as well. Just the wonder weapon was cool as well. It was a hard map. It was fun to play, and the Easter egg was just, I think it was honestly one of the best Easter eggs we've ever had in zombies. It was so cool. I just love the environment, the art style, everything. And if I saw this map come back in any way, I would be absolutely overjoyed. I'm not joking with you. Shangrila is my number 1 pick. Now moving on to my second map that I want to see come back in some way, and that is Mob of the Dead. I just feel like Mob of the Dead has a certain spot in the hearts of everybody, pretty much, because when you really look at Black Ops 2, at the time Black Ops 2, it wasn't going so well. It wasn't going so well. Zombies was great, it was fun, sure, but at the time people were just, they were getting a little dreary. They were like, wait, is Zombies just not as good as it used to be? Because we had maps like Transit, we had maps like Die Rise, and while Die Rise wasn't terrible, I don't think, it wasn't like a trash map, a lot of people just really hated Transit, and then when Die Rise didn't really do much to really satisfy us in any way, it was just sort of like a, you know, it's an okay map, it's just kind of there, it's just kind of like a filler map, right? And then Mob of the Dead came out of nowhere, and it just took the zombies community by storm. And if I could think of any zombies map that basically saved zombies, it was Mob of the Dead. Mob of the Dead saved zombies 100% back in 2013. And if it wasn't for this map, honestly, I don't think the zombies community would be as big as it is today. This map just, there was so much talk about this map. There were so many things and just elements to this map that just kept the community alive. There were so many little Easter eggs aside from the main Easter egg, which is something that we need to see more of in zombies, I think. You know, we had this main Easter egg in Mob of the Dead that was very fun to do, very easy to do as well, but there were also these other little ones on the side. You had the Golden Spork, which was a sick melee weapon that you could get. And it's this awesome side quest in the map that would almost seem like a little Easter egg, a main Easter egg of itself. And you also had the Hell's Retriever, which was a tomahawk you could throw in Mob of the Dead. But the cool thing about that was a lot later after launch, I think a couple of weeks later after launch actually, people found out that you could upgrade the Hell's Retriever and do a sick Easter egg to upgrade it, and it became the Hell's Redeemer. And it was just so cool. Like, I loved all the little side quests in this map. I love the environment of this map, probably one of the coolest and scariest and darkest environments we've ever had in Zombies. Not to mention it was the first time we saw zombies with red eyes, so that was a big deal in itself. But I think the number one reason why I want to see Mob of the Dead come back in some way is I just feel like it deserves its spot. Like I said before, I feel like a DLC 5 or whatever, I don't feel like it would feel the same if we didn't have something like Mob of the Dead in there, because Mob of the Dead really truly feels like a BO3 map. It feels like something that could be in the BO3 cycle. I mean, let's be real here, Mob of the Dead sort of did kick off the BO3 season in terms of story. Mob of the Dead and Origins did. And they sort of set the standard that the rest of the maps throughout would follow. It was a map that saved zombies. It was a map that was literally basically recreated from the real Alcatraz. Treyarch actually went to Alcatraz Island and tried to make a map that fit the exact mapping of Alcatraz the best they could as a zombies map. It's just so cool to see something like that come to life in such a unique way, and just the story on its own could be its own thing. There's just so many things going for Mob of the Dead. I think if there's any zombies map where you could just sit down and explain to somebody who's never played zombies before what the story is about, like if you could just, tell the story of one zombies map, the best one map story is Mob of the Dead by far. The story could stand on its own, but what makes it awesome is it's also a piece of a larger puzzle. It has weight to it, it has grit to it, and heck, it even has Johnny Cash. And my dad, you guys know how my dad is, okay? He loves Johnny Cash, so Mob of the Dead, it's gonna be in there on my list, okay? All right, so before I get into the final map on this list that I wanna see as a DLC 5, I mean, keep in mind that these are in no particular order. Like, I want Shangrila, it's like my favorite map of all time. I want Mob of the Dead, that map is probably the best map we've ever had in zombies ever. And then this third map, they're in no particular order. I just want to see these three no matter what. But before I do that, I want to quickly name some honorable mentions that would be awesome to see in a new way. One of which is Moon. I really want to see Moon come back. I think Moon was an excellent send-off to Black Ops 1. That's a controversial topic to say, but I really do think that Moon is just a really well-known map, and I feel like people nowadays don't appreciate how awesome Moon was at the time. It was absolutely crazy when we blew up the Earth, and I love Moon to death. It was a fun time when it came out, and I feel like it'd be cool for a lot of newcomers who never played the Black Ops 1 days to experience that map for the first time. Not only that, but when you really think about it, Moon was the last time we actually saw the true 1.0 characters of our story. Back in the old days, we didn't have a young Dempsey, a young Richtofen, a young Nikolai, a young Takio, etc. We had four old guys, four old stereotypes actually, and they were all just absolutely crazy in their own way. I mean, Richtofen was insane back in the day on Moon, and on that map he swapped souls with Samantha, some crazy shenanigans happened, and just that map was just such a pivotal point in zombies, I feel like, and I feel like people need to experience just how crazy that was. Also, just one thing I do want to mention is that if Treyarch is actually remastering maps in any way, like I said many times before, I would love to see new storyline elements implemented into it. So like, I don't imagine that it's just gonna be a clear copy and paste with the 1.0 characters like we had in 2011. I feel like Moon would be like in some different storyline aspect. Like we'd be playing somehow as our new characters on Moon, maybe during the moment where we're blowing up the moon when Gersh is there, stuff like that, where they could just change the timeline up, just mess around with things. And just in general, there's so many awesome things they could do with Moon. Moon was such a huge point, like I said before, in the zombie storyline, and I'd love to see what they could do with the story, what they could twist, what they could come up with if that were to ever happen. The second honorable mention I wanted to place in this video is Origins, and I know that's gonna disappoint a lot of people because I know a lot of you probably thought Origins was my third top pick for remastered maps, but Origins, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing map. I think Origins is very special, and I think honestly it probably should be definitely remastered. If they do a remastered map pack, I think Origins fits into Black Ops 3 perfectly. It feels like a Black Ops 3 map. Like I said before, just like Mob of the Dead, it sort of set the standard that Black Ops 3 followed in the later years. Really, my only problem with Origins is that it's just, for me, it's not a map that I want to play every single day. It's not really a map that I want to jump into and just be like, I want to play some Origins and relax. You know what I mean? Like if you play Origins, you're playing Origins. You're getting all the staff pieces, you're doing all this and that, and it's a lot of work, and it needs to be that way. That's just how Origins should have been. I'm glad Origins is the way it is. I don't want it to be changed in any way, but just for me, I'd love to see it come back. I mean, honestly, let's be real. If they do a DLC 5, Origins will probably be there because it just fits with Black Ops 3 100%. But just in terms of the maps that I really want to see as my top 3, it's not in my top 3. It's probably like number 5 or something like that. But let's go ahead and get into what my very number 1 pick is. Or not really my number 1 pick, just whatever my third one is. Because like I said, they're in no particular order because I don't want to like freak anybody out and make everybody think that I love a specific map more. But if I did have to pick my number 1 favorite map, you guys know that, Shangrila. Like I said before, Shangrila is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. But my third pick for a remastered map, if it were ever to happen, is, honestly, this will make people pretty happy, I think, and that's Ascension. Ascension is a very important map, I feel like. Ascension was the map that introduced main Easter eggs. It introduced main Easter eggs into zombies, and honestly, if it wasn't for that, I feel like zombies would have gotten boring a long, long time ago. I feel like Ascension doing that one thing alone makes it such a legendary map. I mean, it was easy to play on, sure. You can train for days in like 4 different areas on Ascension, but it just really felt like the next step for zombies at the time because we had all these Nazi zombie maps in World at War, right? And then Kino was sort of like a Nazi zombies map as well. I think it was actually supposed to be originally another DLC for World at War, so they just did it first thing on Black Ops 1. But Ascension was really that first step into a new era. You know, it was that first step into a new place for zombies, and it worked. I mean, you could just tell that the team and just the passion behind it was just so good. I mean, you had 2 new perks. You had PhD Flopper and my personal favorite perk of all time, Stamina. I mean, like, you guys know I love Sonic the Hedgehog, right? That's pretty self-explanatory why I like Stamina, okay? But yeah, you had that introduction of having new perks into zombies, which normally you just had the typical 4, so we started getting new perks ever since Ascension. We started getting main Easter eggs ever since Ascension. It had a really cool starting round system where the screen was black and white when you spawned in. So when you spawned into Ascension, you're like, why is the screen black and white? And you hear a voice saying, help me, she's coming, the mechanism must be repaired. And basically you had to do a main Easter egg, and it was just cool. Like, I loved Ascension. And one of the reasons I really, really want to see Ascension again is because the main Easter egg of Ascension, when it came out, you know, we thought we were gonna get this sick reward back in the day. We thought we were gonna get this amazing Easter egg reward for doing all these steps like we do nowadays in zombies. But we got really nothing. We had a reward of death machines for, I think it was like 90 seconds or something like that. Like, we just had death machines for maybe like 2 minutes or something, and that was it. That was our reward for doing an entire Easter egg. We got a little thing of Gersh going up into the sky, and we had death machines, and we just heard Samantha laugh, I think. At the time, a bunch of people were in denial. A bunch of people were like, oh my god, that cannot be the end of the Easter egg. There has to be something more. Maybe we have to use the death machines to do something else. Maybe we're not done. Maybe there's a way to open up this door in the map or something. And the reason why, the top reason why I think Ascension definitely needs to be in there in the remasters, if they do it, is because they could play with this, right? They could use that whole logic that we had in the past, and they could completely change the ending to this Easter egg. And like I said many, many times before on this channel, I don't know if, you know, what Treyarch would want to do if they remaster maps. I don't know if they would want to keep the same Easter eggs in there for nostalgia's sake, or if they want to create new ones to sort of make the community thrive in finding new things. I think personally, I would like to see different Easter eggs. I definitely want to go on Easter egg hunting trips again, because that's what I love to do. That's what basically drives me in zombies, right? And I just do think they could play around with this whole thing with Ascension being that first main Easter egg that just didn't really have a good reward at the time, and a bunch of people were in denial about it. And they could play with that and extend it in some way, or just do something else with it and just blow our minds and just make Ascension have the coolest Easter egg ever to sort of make up for the lackluster ending that we got on it back in the day in 2011. So yeah, overall, the 3 maps that I want to see no matter what come back, if they ever did it, would be A, Shangrila, because let's just face it, that map would be a beauty. And I know what you're thinking. There's a lot of people that you don't like Shangrila. You think it's too hard, or you think it's just not a fun map. You didn't play it that much back in the day because you couldn't train around in circles all day. I feel ya. But just think of how sick Shangrila would look, okay? Please, Treyarch, if you're ever gonna do it, please do Shangrila. Love you forever. Not only that, but two, I think Mob of the Dead is a must. I think Mob of the Dead is the map that saves zombies. Honestly, I've had this discussion with a lot of people before on what I think is the best overall made zombies map of all time, and I think that's Mob of the Dead. I think Mob of the Dead perfectly encapsulates what we love about zombies and what zombies is. And number three, I think it's just gotta be Ascension. Ascension was just a classic map that I would love to see come back. And not only that, but it just started so many things. It had new perks, it had main Easter eggs for the first time ever. And essentially the whole jumping point from Nazi zombies to just Call of Duty zombies that it is now began with Ascension. And I just think overall these three maps need to come back. But of course, I would love to see almost every single map come back in some capacity. I would be happy with pretty much anything. I would be happy seeing Transit remastered. I mean, I was playing Transit on stream the other night, and don't get me wrong, Transit's not a great map. You know, it's not the best, but I had fun with it. Like, I actually had fun on Transit the other night, and I was just playing it. I was like, I shouldn't be having fun on this map, but I am. And I feel like if done again in some new way or remastered in some way, it might work actually. It could possibly work. I mean, what? You don't want to see full HD Ted kick you off the bus in 2017? I mean, what's not to love about that? It's not to love. And yeah, before I go, let me just stress one more time that this is all my opinion. I'm sorry if I triggered anybody, but I do want you to leave your opinion in the comments below. Tell me in the comments below, what 3 maps would you pick to be remastered if Treyarch did it? If Treyarch did it, what 3 maps would you love to see come back and why? And guess what, my friends? That's gonna be the next things people say, my friends. And I'm doing it without Lex if he doesn't want to do it. If he doesn't want to record soon, I'm doing it by myself. And it's gonna be a blast. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna bring things people say back in full force on this channel. And whenever Lex wants to come in and co-host it or record too or whatever, we'll do it. We'll have a jolly good time. But I want to do it more frequently again, because I used to do things people say back in the day. When I did it solo, I used to do it like every other week or every week. I mean, I did it a lot actually. And I really want to bring those weekly/bi-weekly discussions back. So tell me in the comments below what 3 maps you want to see, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one, guys.